There are so many examples of where we can find philanthropy as an exercise of power. We can begin just with the general idea of these legacy foundations, the names of which we all know, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Ford Foundation. These are places where money has been set up to be distributed for global benefits in ways that happens across generations, long past the deaths of the original donors. And when the direction of these private assets goes to some public influence, it raises the problem of hewing to donors' intent and wondering where did the authority come for dead people to make determinations about the use of philanthropic assets today. But even if people have been dead for quite some time, still it's an interesting problem for us to confront as citizens, to ask where the authority comes for people with money to have some public influence. So take, for example, Bill and Melinda Gates. The Gates Foundation does extraordinary work, and especially in the middle of this pandemic, we can point to them for having carried out exceptionally important public work. But I just want to insist upon the idea that when Bill Gates gets an idea about how to change education, and he sets up a whole education funding program, there's nothing that we can do as ordinary citizens to resist his particular education ideas. So some critics have described Bill Gates as the nation's unelected school superintendent, and that's where the nub of the problem rests. Where does Bill Gates or any other rich person get the authority to have ideas about how the public should be shaped and how public policy should go that resists the scrutiny and inquiry of other people?
That's really interesting, Rob. And relatedly, I spent several years studying some of these issues in an actual community, and it was actually the richest community in America, which also happens to have the nation's largest gap between the rich and the poor, and really sees itself as this paradigm of good philanthropy in a community. Oddly enough, I found that environmental conservation actually, under the banner of philanthropy and protecting nature, that this became an engine for multiplying wealth, for gaining social prestige, for hiding societal patterns of harm, and really protecting the status quo simply by disguising the need for real economic and political change in this community. And more generally, reinforcing many of the social mechanisms that give rise to environmental problems in the first place.